listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana, founders of the Life Coach Method. Each one of our uplifting and deep dive episodes is geared to help you tackle the things that hold you back from having the most magnificent life you deserve. Sit back, relax, and prepare to be coached.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Cali Estes with Unpause Your Life, and I have a great guest for you today. I'm very excited to share her story. Her name is Kim Rahir, and she is a 60-year-old mother of 3 who was diagnosed with MS 10 years ago and decided to ignore her doctor's advice, as we talk about a lot on the podcast, and muscle her way back to a happy life. Last year, she became European champion in masters weightlifting in her age and weight category. Her journey inspired her to leave her career in journalism in her 50s and become a health coach for middle-aged women with a big focus on reactivating and rebuilding muscle. Welcome, Kim.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this, and I love the motto of your show.
Oh, thank you. Well, we are excited to have you. This is such an interesting story. So tell us about you.
Yeah, well, I was a mother of 3 for years, being just happy and living my life as a journalist, traveling around, moving every 4 years, raising my kids, doing freelance journalistic work, and just being happy with my life. And then from one day to the next, I got really knocked off my feet with a very weird autoimmune condition, which wasn't even MS yet. It was a one-off called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which had me spend 6 weeks in hospital, 3 of those completely paralyzed from the hips downward. And that absolutely changed my life. My kids were small at the time, so it was scary, it was heartbreaking, it was dark. But it's interesting. I had a conversation with someone recently and said, oh, yeah, that must have been so horrible times. And they were. But I'm really grateful for this experience because it totally changed my take on life and my perspective. And I think I've been sort of happier and more purposeful and more fulfilled ever since.
So how did you find out you had MS? What were your symptoms?
Yeah, that was after this one-off where I was in the hospital and I learned to walk again and everything. I was given a clean bill of health after 1.5 years, which made me exceedingly happy. And then a year later, I felt my left hand going numb. That was it. I was losing sensitivity in my left hand, and it was sort of creeping up into my arm and everything. So I knew that wasn't right, and I went to see the doctor, and then they, did some examinations and took some pictures, and they said this time it's your immune system actually attacking your nerves, the white matter in your nerves. So this is serious, and if it happens again, this is MS. And we waited for a year or so, and I kept saying, it's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. And then it did. But it was a very, very mild relapse, the second one. I only noticed it because I was doing a weird yoga pose on the bedroom floor, and I felt a tingling in my spine. That was all that I felt the second time. But it was the second relapse, and I was officially declared an MS patient, and I struggled. I fought with the doctor. I didn't want to take the lifelong treatment, but I had to give in, and then that was in 2013. I started injecting myself 3 times a week with interferon beta.
Oh, wow. So what did they give you as a diagnosis? Did they tell you would be wheelchair bound, or what did they say?
No, that's the scary thing with MS. You don't know. You don't know. It could be anything. And I remember when I was in the hospital and I was getting, infusions and I was getting examinations and stuff. Some guy came by with a clipboard asking me questions. And I said, what is this about? And he said, oh, I'm doing a survey because I'm studying a particular type of MS where you lose your eyesight. I said, oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with
Oh,
me. I didn't need to hear that. So it's, I mean, I had this thing that my left hand went numb, and it's still sort of numb until this day. So I have a very low sensitivity in my left hand, but that's all I had at that point in time. Um, and that's all you know in the moment. You could get relapses regularly, um, and have more nerve damage over the years, which could lead to you being in a wheelchair. Could lead to all kinds of things, like, your eyesight. At the time, I didn't have anything, and that was a very important point, because um, when you don't know what the future brings, and this could be like super scary stuff, or maybe you'll just sort of, get through this. um, I decided I was not going to think about the big picture in that future. I decided I was going to just focus on today, where I had just my left hand a little bit numb, and for the rest I could move normally. And I didn't want to look any further. But
right.
you have this diagnosis, and anything could happen, and because that's so scary, I didn't really want to think about it.
That's so interesting. So my mom got diagnosed with MS probably about the same time you did.
Okay.
And she
Yeah.
started having the eyesight problems. So she
Mm.
went in and she had a test done. It was really freaky test for me because they go in and they like cut the side of your eye to test for
Oh my
something.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's called transverse myelitis. It's the piece that causes the blindness in MS. And she came back and has it. So she's actually has transverse myelitis. So
Oh.
they traced it back to a vaccine that she got in her 20s. And
Oh.
yeah, they had, said to her, well, we don't really know what's going to happen, but we know in the next year you'll be probably blind. So she went and saw a functional medicine doctor, and he got her on all these regimens of detoxing this, you know, uh, vaccine, and getting her well, and getting her off the sugar, and getting her off her white flour, and getting her to, well, you can't get her to work out. She's tried. She doesn't listen to anything on that side, but um, he got her well. So when I saw your
Wow.
profile, I thought, wow, this is crazy. But you took it to a whole new level. You went and decided to change your career to help women deal with certain issues. So tell me how you went from dealing with the medical doctors to getting into the health and fitness realm.
Yeah. So the first thing that I asked the doctor after I had to give in to, take the lifelong medication, um, was if I could exercise. And he was like very non-committal. Yeah, maybe be careful, like really not helpful at all. Like something, oh, exercise. I don't know anything about this, so I'm not going to say yes, but I can't say no because I hear that maybe it's good. So he was not helpful. And I talked to a nurse the next day who said, it's great. Exercise makes you fatigue resistant. So that was my green light. And I had this desire to become insanely strong. I cannot explain this. I try to explain it because I had been in the hospital before, paralyzed, couldn't walk to the toilet by myself and things like this. So I think this physical strength um, idea was something that I just wanted to hold on to, like really obsessively. Yeah, I needed to get really strong, also to control my body again, to trust my body again. Autoimmune things, just your body's betraying you in a way. And I thought, no, I need to get strong. So I started to go to the gym and started lifting heavy. Uh, with the help of a book, one of the first books that said women should lift heavy, and I got so much better so quickly. And I think today, yes, I got physically stronger, and I was just really in great shape, and my checkups lasted like 2 minutes. They had me look at their finger, when they take it from the right to the left, and then walk in a line, and then they sent me on my way. Um, I think the main effect of this strength training was my mental health got so much better. I got so confident, so positive, so self-reliant, and I think that helps with any kind of healing process that you need. Any kind of improvement in your overall being needs your mental health, of course. So after 3 or 4 years, I don't even remember because it's been now 7 years that I met a new neurologist because we moved again. We went to Spain. I had a new neurologist. He saw me and he said that I could stop my treatment. And
Oh,
that
wow.
was like, yeah, that was the greatest gift ever. I was in tears with joy. And that was also the moment when I thought, maybe, just maybe, I'm onto something. This building of physical strength, the mental health effects that came with it. I just wanted to share this, and I thought I have to tell women, especially women, beyond their 40s. So many feel and think that this is all there is. Life is over. I'm becoming invisible. I'm becoming weak. I'm becoming stiff. I'm going to have to live with low moods and achy joints and all this. And I felt I needed to share this super simple approach because it's really simple. You train for physical strength, and so many other things fall into place with that. So I, took like 2 years of transition where I was still working as a journalist, but starting to take the certifications and everything. And then one day I took the plunge and said, okay, this is me now. I'm an online coach now. I'm going to show women how to get freaking strong and like reclaim everything that life has to offer.
That's amazing. What an incredible journey. I find it so interesting when we have a career where we're doing something and we're thinking, this is my career. This is who I am. In your case, you're a journalist. That's what you're doing. And then all of a sudden, life throws us a curveball and we say, okay, well, now I'm not supposed to be doing that anymore. Now I'm doing something completely different, but it's based on personal experience, which then makes what we do so much more powerful because we've
Yes.
been there. And now when you have clients that say, well, what do you know? You could say, well, I know a lot. Here's, what I learned. And I learned because I had to learn. I was put in this situation. So I find that incredibly inspiring.
Thanks. That's amazing. And I think it's really important also in relating to my clients and connecting with them that I know how it feels when when you think, you're at the lowest possible point and you don't know where to go and what to do, or you're afraid of the future because you think, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? What on earth can I do? Have I lost everything that I thought that I was? Because this plays a big role for your identity also. When all of a sudden people tell you that you're a sick person, um, you you think, no. I mean, I thought, no, that's not me. So connecting with women who go and I'm not talking about women who have MS. I'm not claiming you can cure MS with strength training, but everybody in their 40s and onwards, we have all sorts of shenanigans and discomforts and limitations that start creeping in, and it's so easy to get really frustrated. And because I've been there, I've been in this place, um, I can say with authority, no, you don't have to stay there. There's always something you can do, no matter how small. Mm. And it took me a while, to be honest, when I started coaching to realize that I could actually inspire women with my story. Um, I had thought for a long time that, yeah, that this was just my life, and that was what happened to me, and it's quite normal. And then when I started talking about this, sharing my story, I realized that yes, I need to share this because it can give hope to so many people who think it's too late for them. And I know, just as you said, I know it's never too late.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a great story. I think though the biggest question women always ask though when you talk about strength training is what if I get, bulky, or what if I get ripped, or I don't want to look like a man. I hear that all the
Yeah.
time in the gym. How do you explain to them weight training is not going to make you look like a bodybuilder?
I used to just go and say, scientifically, physiologically, it's not possible. You can be an outlier. Some women, have a predisposition and they might become very muscular and very henge very quickly, but it's extremely unlikely because we do not have enough testosterone to become that bulky. That's what I used to say. It won't happen because you're a woman, and just by looking at a pink dumbbell from 2 yards, you will not, build a ton of muscle. Actually, it takes so hard, dedicated, committed work to build muscle that this idea of, oh my God, this could go too fast or be too much. It's actually a little bit um, absurd. But now, when I hear this question, what do I do not to get bulky? Um, I say, why, when we're talking about an approach that could be good for your health, why is the first question that you want to ask the one, how is this going to make me look? Why is the first question not, how is this going to make me feel? Is that not the most logical question that should come first? And I think that says a lot about our culture and how we're brought up as women. We think that strength is something masculine, and the way we look is still sort of overrated in our self confidence.
That is so true. Everything revolves around how's this going to make me look. I don't want to
Yeah.
look a certain way. It's not, when somebody says I don't feel good, and you say, well, I have a solution. If we start working out, your cortisol is going to drop. If we drop your cortisol, guess what happens? We drop your inflammation. If we drop your inflammation, you're going to feel better. That's just simple. Well, how do we
Yeah.
drop your cortisol? We do it through exercise. We do it through fitness, and we boost your serotonin and your dopamine. But they don't hear that. They hear, well, am I going to look manly? And I find that
Yes.
so interesting because I have a friend that does CrossFit, and she always says to me, she's like, you should do CrossFit. I'm like, I can't. My shoulder's too busted up for CrossFit. But she started looking bulky. And she's like, I'm getting really bulky. And I'm like, but do you like CrossFit? And she said, yes. I said, then don't worry about it. She says, but I'm looking a little thick. I said, are you having fun? She said, yes. I said, do you enjoy it? She said, yes. I said, do you feel good? She said, yes. I said, then leave it alone and go do it. Don't worry about what other
Absolutely.
people think.
Yeah, and then also questions about like everyday functionality. If you're fit, everything is easier and lighter in your day to day. Lifting stuff up. I don't know, pushing a car, carrying groceries, rolling on the floor with your kids or your grandkids, whatever it is. You become so much more functional. So your quality of life increases incredibly. And just because you think that you might look thick, maybe she did, she was just imagining this because she was feeling so strong and so powerful. Maybe that sort of biased the way that she looked at herself, because we cannot really trust what we see in the mirror many times.
That is true. Absolutely. So let's tell my listeners how they find you. Where are you, and what you can do for them, and how you can help, and how they can get in touch.
Yeah, so my signature method is to help any woman, no matter in what physical state or skill set or experience she comes with. I can help her start strength training right away at her level, and I can get her strong um, and more energetic with as little as 15 minutes a day. And I think it's really an important point, because sometimes when we want to get better and change our life, it feels just so overwhelming, and something like one more thing to take on, one more thing to sort of crowd our agenda. So 15 minutes a day, I can get you strong no matter where you are at or where you're coming from. And to find out where you are at, you can take a free health assessment on my website, which is kimrahir.com, because that's also a very important point when you start a fitness journey. To go from A to B, first you need to establish, where am I at? What is my A? And with my assessment, you can sort of get a good idea of where you're at, and it's tied into your everyday activity. So it's not, can you do 5 push-ups? It's more like, can you lift your luggage into the overhead locker on the plane? Things like this. And depending on your result, I will give you some pointers on what you can do next. What would be your best next step in order to get fit, lean, and strong?
Awesome. Well, that is great. And we're going to put all of your links up for everyone to go directly to your website. That way they can connect with you, ask any questions they have, and get in touch.
Amazing. Thanks.
Well, and thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You have been listening to Unpause Your Life, another great episode here with Dr. Cali Estes. Please listen in and tune in next week. We have another great guest.
Thank you for listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Cali Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana. Head over to www.thelifecoachmethod.com to learn more about coaching yourself and how to become a master coach.